This is my 2006 BMW M Roadster, and I'm going to take you for a ride. So I bought this car in 2009, and I traded in my E46 M3 for this car. And part of the reason is I had a lease car that I acquired the year prior, so I didn't necessarily need a car that could do everything. Now, if you want a car that does everything, the E46 M3 is pretty good at just about everything. It's got a solid roof, so you can drive it year-round. It has pretty good fuel economy and good performance, plus back seats and a decent trunk. Now, if you can handle a little less than everything and have the garage space, this is a great option. Now, part of the reason I got rid of the M3 is the way I spec'd it, which back in my younger years when I was a little less wise, a little more performance oriented like some of us. You think, oh, I want a car that I can track on the weekend and I can drive it to work and, you know, do everything. So what happens is you end up not optioning certain things like sunroofs, power seats, heated seats, things like navigation, things like backup like parking sensors, things that initially to the enthusiast, we don't really care about these things. But the problem is the longer you own the car, the more likely you're gonna want heated seats, you're gonna want navigation, you're gonna want backup sensors. So even though the M Roadster is not a heavily optioned car in terms of it had very few things from the factory you could do to it, this spec that I'm driving today is actually a better option than the M3 I traded in on it. So word to the wise guys, be cognizant of, you know, long-term ownership of vehicles. Some of the options you forego to save a few dollars, well, you might not want to get rid of your car because of it. So don't do what I did. It's kind of a Franken car, so to speak. It has bits from the E46 M3, namely the S54 motor, as well as the ZZP brakes. It also has the nice things that the Z4 has brought to the table, i.e. the soft top, the short wheelbase, the lighter curb weight, and of course the 6-speed manual transmission, namely the Tremec transmission, not the Get-Rag transmission that was in the E46. Now, I had a 2006 M3 competition package for 3 years, and it was equipped with a manual. It was not an SMG. It had the 6-speed Get-Rag gearbox, and the Get-Rag gearbox was nice for 2001. Unfortunately, the throws were rather long. Most people I know who have E46s for longer periods of time have almost all of them installed a short throw gearbox. The nice thing about the Z4, you don't need a short throw. That's how good and short this gearbox is. These cars never had SMGs, unlike the M3s. Most enthusiasts, especially M enthusiasts, they don't consider this car a good option in the M category, mainly because it's a convertible, and everyone loves the idea of the E46 and the M Coupe having better structural rigidity by having a roof. The problem is when they built the M Coupe, they based it off the Z4 chassis, which was originally designed as a convertible from the ground up. So adding the roof added 200 pounds. So you find that when looking at the performance numbers, the E46 M3 and the Z4 M Coupe, even though the M Coupe looks smaller, the curb weight's almost identical, and the performance is almost identical. But when the Roadster slides in, 200 pounds lighter, it gives up a lot of structural rigidity by having a soft top, but it also has a lower center of gravity because it doesn't have a roof. And with less weight, enables it to have a few tenths faster to 60, as well as better mid-corner and exit speed. Now, there'll be some people who disagree, and you're fine to disagree, but having gotten this car and I was one of those guys. I had decided early on that the Z4 M Coupe, when it came out, had to be the car to replace my M3 competition. It had to be. And I looked for them and looked for them. But when I saw this Roadster pop up at my local dealership with only 3,300 miles, I decided I can't pass it up. Let's give it a shot. And I was more than happy with the car. I mean, I can't really complain. There's so many good things about this car. Alright, the engine, perfection with an 8,000 RPM red line attached. The steering, an old school hydraulic rack and pinion setup with loads of feedback that travel up into your hands through a small, fat steering wheel. The brakes, competition M3 ZZP rotors, yes please. The exhaust, no rasp from the factory. If you like the rasp, and I love the rasp, these two cars, this car as well as the Coupe version, do not have rasp. The trunk, golf bag approved with space to spare. You can't say that about a Boxster. So if you want a car that can literally do everything, buy an E46 M3. If you can manage living with a little less than everything, then you should try buying the last true sports car BMW has ever made. So, I've had this car for over 12 years, and why would I keep a car that long? Well, to sum it up, this car is the Dorian Gray of my garage, because driving it never gets old. Yes! Just a quick PSA, a lot of the shots were achieved using GoPro style cameras with suction cup mounts that we put on the various parts of the cars to get the shots. Just make sure that if you do utilize this option, that the parts of the car you stick the suction cups to are clean. So, in short, prep your surface. Prep your surface. Just saying.
Ja!